Hi, this is the first in a video series that I'm going to be calling Make a Better Star Wars, in which I, some guy online, try and make the Star Wars movies that just came out slightly less bad. I don't expect anyone to listen to me. I don't think I'm going to change anything. I'm just trying to have a fun time. So with that in mind, here it is. Make a Better Star Wars, the case for Joe Keery. I wanted to start with Solo, a Star Wars story, because I think it holds the dubious honor of being just the worst. It's not even that it's that bad, it's really just aggressively mediocre. Imagine for a second it wasn't a Star Wars movie. Who cares, right? I mean, why make or watch this? I think Ron Howard probably did the best he could with what he had to work with, but still wasn't very good. It really was a dog, and not like a fun dog, like a corgi or a pug. Just kind of a brown lab. Very basic. First off, and I think this is really important, if they're going to do another Solo movie, they gotta recast Han Solo. I'm sorry, Alden Ehrenreich, I'm sure you're a nice guy. You're just not a good Solo. I don't want to attack you personally in any way, shape, or form. I'm sure you'd even be good in other roles, just not this one. A different one. So, who would I cast? I hope that's obvious from the title of this video, but I would cast Joe Keery, Steve. Steve from Stranger Things. He has it all. He has the hair, he has a smile. What more do I need to say? He's also like actually charming and like cool. He's a cool person. Alden Ehrenreich, I'm sorry. I don't think you're cool. I don't think you're a cool guy. You're not. Steve is a cool guy. He laughs in the face of danger, and when he sees a Demogorgon, he hits it with a bat. Alden Ehrenreich is just not that cool. I'm sorry. I really don't want this video to be super mean, but Alden Ehrenreich, he's not cool enough. He's not cool enough to play Han Solo, and I can't stress that enough. It's very important that the person that plays Han Solo be cool, at the very least, you know? I know being cool is subjective. Anyway, Joe Keery should be Han Solo. Hashtag Joe Keery should be Han Solo. Keeping that in mind as I go over the rest of this, so just in your head while I'm talking about this stuff, instead of Alden Ehrenreich, picture Joe Keery. It'll help, I promise. Originally, Solo, a Star Wars story, was supposed to be the first in a series of films, a trilogy, if I remember correctly, but then it had a number of production problems, so that was canceled. And it feels very much like they took 3 movies worth of notes and then tried to cram it all into just one film, which didn't really work. And so because they took 3 movies worth of content and crammed it into one movie, the biggest issue with Solo, a Star Wars story, is its pace. We don't get to spend any time with any of the characters, and so it's next to impossible to care about them. The intro chase scene is a really good example. It's supposed to be this big emotional moment for Han and the audience, like when he has to leave Kira behind. But we don't know who she is, or even if she's all that important to Han. Like, he gives her this speech about how he's going to come back for her and just wait for me, baby. But, you know, he could be feeding her a line. Like, this is Han Solo, space criminal. Also, why couldn't Kira go too? Like, is the Empire sexist in addition to racist? I didn't think they were. I thought that was like the one cool thing about the Empire, is that they were equal opportunity in terms of gender. I don't know. You don't even really know if he means any of the stuff that he's saying, because it's not like he's ever talking about Kira, or like he's always bringing up that he has to go back, or he brings up this girl that he left behind with any kind of regularity. They just sort of run into each other later on because of the Force. If I were put in charge of a Solo movie, that's the first big thing I would change. Make it about the relationships. Let the mainline Star Wars movies have the big galaxy-shattering set pieces, and let the Star Wars stories explore smaller, like, more intimate aspects of the characters' lives. Hey, let's see Chewbacca fuck. Keeping in mind that this was supposed to be a trilogy, the first movie in the series should really focus on the formative relationship in Han's life, and the people that come to define many aspects of his character. ideally, this movie should be about Kira and Lando. And okay, this might shock some of you, but I don't think Chewbacca should be in the first movie, like at all. Han and Chewie's relationship is too important to be like thrown onto the pile. There were so many characters in this first movie that it was just maddening to see Chewbacca thrown into the mix and then given like 0 screen time. Not that anybody got any screen time, but I mean, why even have him there, is what I'm saying. No Chewie. Like, imagine how much fun it would be to watch Steve from Stranger Things play off whoever is going to play Chewbacca. Imagine the obvious chemistry that they would have. It's going to be a fun movie. I want to see that. Actually, he kind of already has that with Dustin. Dustin is kind of his Chewbacca. I mean, yeah, I'm happy with that comparison. Apt. This is one of the things in my life that I am most right about. That Joe Keery should be Han Solo. Do me a solid, Disney. Come on. Don't worry, though. I would have a Wookiee in this movie, just not Chewbacca. So Han is supposed to be an orphan, growing up on the mean streets of Coruscant. And, like, he didn't do that by himself. He was clearly raised in an orphanage of some kind. A space orphanage. Technically, all orphanages are in space. They're on planets, which, anyway, it's not important. So Han grew up in a space orphanage, and get this. One of the people who raised him was a Wookiee. See, it all makes sense. It's just a little thing, but it fixes so many small problems with Han's backstory. Like, why could he understand Chewbacca? People were really mad that Han could understand Chewbacca when normally only Jedi can understand languages that they've never heard before. But, you know, having Han be raised by a Wookiee mom, just, of course, Han knows how to speak Wookiee. The mom taught him. The Wookiee mom. The Wookiee mom actually also helps to explain why Han would free Chewbacca in the first place. Wookiees are, in the wider galaxy, considered to be, like, savage beasts. They're not, like, you know, someone you want to be friends with. Like, I don't have enough Wookiee friends. They're scary. They're 6 feet tall. They rip people's arms off. Though we never see it. But if Han is raised by Wookiees, then obviously he already feels like some kind of a kinship with Wookiee kind, or a sympathy for them or something, you know, because they're a part of his backstory. It's just good writing. I really think that the blaster that Han uses, is it Han or Han? I don't care. But the blaster. So they make a point of like lingering on the blaster as it's passed to Woody Harrelson as though this is like some significant moment. Sorry, Woody Harrelson passes it to Han. But it's not significant. It's like, here we're going into battle. You don't seem to have a weapon. Here's one that I had laying around. It's not very good. It's yours. Have it. Like, it's just... It's not a good scene. It doesn't feel earned. They try to give it this kind of emotional weight and significance, and it's just not there. It's like, maybe in that moment, Han's like, wow, no one's ever given me anything in my life. That's not my Alden Ehrenreich impression. It's just... Anyway, it's a bad scene. So if the blaster belongs to the Wookiee mom, and like throughout the first movie we see her using it all the time, like maybe she scares some guys with it, and later on she shoots some dudes, and then Han Solo has to leave, you know, once and for all. And she can't protect him anymore, so she gives him her blaster so he can protect himself. And it's just a very emotional moment. I just think that's a little better than the way that they did it. I don't know. The Woody Harrelson plotline needs to be relegated to the second movie. It's fine to have it. It's like, I like everybody in it except for, you know, the New York alien. Anyway, so like that should all be in the second movie when Han has joined the Empire and is a part of, you know, the Empire army. And like Woody Harrelson can play like kind of a surrogate father role in Han's life, and like Han can look up to him, and then at a pivotal moment Woody Harrelson betrays him, teaching Han that maybe people aren't so trustworthy after all. Which, like, he would already know that. He's an orphan. The last thing I want to talk about is something that I call the curse of Han Solo. And I don't know if this is something that I've made up in my head as being a thing, but for me, it's very important. So, what is the curse of Han Solo? It's pretty widely accepted that Han is at least Force sensitive. Like, maybe not strong enough to be a Jedi, but perhaps some kind of a Force conduit. Meaning that the Force moves through him and, puts Han where he needs to be. And when it comes down to it, also protecting him, because he has a larger part to play. A destiny, if you will. For Han, this manifests as almost a preternatural form of luck. When the chips are down, when stuff gets really bad, something will come along. Han will escape. He always escapes. And he knows it too. Han may not exactly believe in the Force, at least at first, but he does believe in his own luck. And, at the end of his life, we can really see the danger of that kind of addiction. Han relies way too much on some random thing coming along to help him out at the last minute, even though it usually does. That is, until his luck runs out. This is Han's defining trait, the fact that he's always willing to push just a little bit farther, to make one more deal, to double-cross just one more person. He may not come out on top, but he will come out. This attitude makes Han Solo who he is, and also helps to explain why he's such a loner. Han's luck only extends to him. The Force is totally impartial and has no interest in protecting the people around him, unless they're useful. It sounds complicated, but I think a great way to show this is just something simple like Han has a plucky best friend in the first movie who trusts him implicitly and who Han genuinely relies on. And then, Han gets too deep into trouble and his friend dies. Han escapes, but his friend dies. Han is fundamentally a good person, and so by being a loner, he's trying to protect people. And that's what makes his relationship with Chewbacca so fundamental. Chewie can take care of himself. Han gets into lots of crazy situations, and no matter how crazy it is, Chewbacca will probably be fine. That extends also to Luke and Leia, and why they fall in so naturally together later on. They enjoy the same kind of protection from danger, or plot armor. I don't know why I did the air quotes. If you notice, Han's only other friend outside of Chewbacca is Lando Calrissian, and their friendship is more antagonistic than anything else. Each of them would be sad if the other one died, but then they'd just go back about their day, smuggling spice, or unedited DVDs of the original Star Wars trilogy, or whatever it is that they smuggle. Han Solo is a really interesting character. He's a classical flawed hero, he's the definition of hubris. Wings, close to the sun, all that business. He deserved better, is what I'm trying to say. They could have done a better movie. They could have done 3 good, great movies. We could have had a Lando Calrissian solo film, and I think that's the greatest crime of all, is that we're not going to get a Lando movie. But that's pretty much it. I don't know. So what do you think? Do you think that Joe Keery would be a good Han Solo? Do you like the changes that I've explained in a very broad and general way? Let me know in the comments below. Oh yeah, subscribe. I did it.